Another day in another practice officially in the books for the Pittsburgh Steelers as Justin Fields continues to command the offense, make some insanely accurate throws, and continue to prove why he could very well be the Steelers' future quarterback. In this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about today's practice, from how Justin Fields looks, to George Pickens catching a couple of touchdowns, to the overall aspect of today's practice. Now, before we jump into the video, first I want to say I apologize, didn't cover yesterday's practice, but don't worry, we got you guys covered from here on out. And I want to give credit where credit is due and want to give a massive shout out to all of the Steelers media members, Aaron Becker, Nick Farabaugh, all of the media members over in Pittsburgh who keep us updated with the highlights, with the analysis, with the notes, everything, right? Without them, these videos are not possible to make, so go give them a follow on X. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. There's so many of them, and it kind of feels like you're at practice when you follow them. With that being said, let's kind of dive into the video and talk about today's practice. Now, the first thing they always do is some 7 shots at the goal line. You get one opportunity to get a touchdown, and this is kind of what happened here. We had first play, Justin Fields was your QB, and basically a coverage sack, was running around the pocket for a ton of time trying to buy time, but they actually blew it dead. Would have been a sack there. And then we get a Pickens touchdown over the middle of the end zone. Beautiful pass, beautiful catch by George Pickens, and then we had another very next play, George Pickens touchdown, that time versus Deshaun Elliott. Beautiful. We had an Adams sack there, and listen, if you've been paying attention to the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last couple of weeks, one name who has stood out the most has been Montravius Adams. This dude has been a monster. Gets a big time sack there, and then Kyle Allen comes back in. So Justin Fields went 2 of 4 with 2 touchdowns to George Pickens. Kyle Allen comes in, throws an interception to Graham. He's another guy trying to fight for some slot corner role, so that interception could really help him out. We got a coverage sack by Murray, and then we got a DeMarvin Leal, I believe you say his name, sack as well. So 2 sacks, or 3 sacks, I guess you could say. Actually, just kidding. I'm going to say 4 sacks. You got the coverage sack at first. You got the Montravius Adams. You got Leal, and then you got another coverage sack by Murray as well. So 4 sacks out of 7. So that's really good defense. Definitely won outside those 2 touchdowns to George Pickens. The defense looked good today. Now, the players who weren't a full go in today's practice: Patrick Queen, Roman Wilson, Russell Wilson, Graylin Arnold, Jeremiah Moon, and Karan Johnson as well. They also did some one-on-one tackling as well, and the one guy who stood out in that portion was Calvin Austin. Every time he got the ball in his hands, nobody could bring him down. Dude is just a monster in open space, and he's going to be a guy I continue to monitor over the next few weeks, especially once we get to preseason football games. I cannot wait until those times come. I believe Calvin Austin put a nasty move on Deshaun Elliott. Peyton Wilson contained Justin Fields on a rep. Scotty Miller got away from Cam Sutton. Joey Porter contained Tariq Black. Beanie Bishop did a really good job on Matt Sokol. I don't know how to say his name, but yep, that. I know you guys are going to roast me in the comments down below. And then Calvin Austin does beat Beanie Bishop on 2 back-to-back reps later in the drill as well. So Calvin Austin just looking like an absolute unit out there in today's practice. And then we had Beanie Bishop kind of make up for it. Jumps the screen and takes it back for a pick 6. Now, over the past couple of days, weeks actually, I should say, Beanie Bishop has been slowly just taking over practice, looking like the best slot corner. Today, does it again. This is my guy. I am locking it in right now. This is going to be the breakout player for the Steelers this season. I guarantee it. We also have big news on Corey Trice. A lot of you guys want to hear about him. I'm going to give you a nice little tidbit of information about him in a second. Before we jump into that, though, do me a favor. Hit the like button, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It is free. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. And we're going to be covering the Steelers throughout the entirety of the offseason. What that includes: every single training camp practice from here on out, but also, more importantly, preseason football games. We're going to go live on my Twitch if you want to follow and watch some games with me, break down the film on Twitch. Make sure you follow it. Link will be in the description, and you can find it in at Matty Dubs with 3 S's. Make sure you guys check that out. And lastly, we're going to be breaking down the film in video form on this channel throughout preseason and regular season as well. So make sure you guys do me a favor and join the family, right? So good job there by Beanie Bishop. One of the biggest standouts from today was him. Came down on a screen pass, intercepted it, ran in for a touchdown. I think it was to Jaylen Warren, but he continues just to thrive defensively for the Steelers. Nick Herbig is another guy. You saw him a couple of days ago. Take some time after practice to work with James Harrison. It is showing off on the field. Had a would-be sack on Justin Fields. But if Fields, didn't get sacked, he actually did throw it, a beautiful one to Van Jefferson. So again, would have been a sack. Let's just say that. We also saw Corey Trice, and this is the big news. He was getting dime snaps today at linebacker. Okay? What's interesting is he had speed, versatility, height, coverage ability at that middle of the field. So whenever they're in the dime, they kind of have, not only 6 DBs, they got 7 at times as well. Now, obviously, Pat Queen out today. Maybe he's their dime linebacker. But Corey Trice is getting some opportunity in a couple of different spots. He was really good last year. They love to run, a corner or someone, a safety, in that box and dime, and Corey Trice could be that guy this season. So again, make sure you keep your eye on that. Nick Herbig had another what would have been sack, and since they're not hitting the quarterback, Fields threw the ball anyway, and it was an almost pick to DeMonte KZ. And then we had a beautiful deep ball to Van Jefferson down the sideline. Van Jefferson has been probably the biggest standout at wide receiver outside of George Pickens. Looks like Van Jefferson is almost even a lock to be your wide receiver too, unless they go out and get a guy like Brandon Ayuk or DK Metcalf. I know there's a lot of options out there, but right now Van Jefferson looks like your guy. Aaron Shamklin made a bunch of good plays today. Logan Lee was getting a couple of reps at long snapper today, which was interesting. I guess he's more of just a emergency long snapper. Russell Wilson came in for some 7-on-7s with the ones, had a miscommunication with Van Jefferson. We also had a second one, a short completion to George Pickens, and then a third and short completion to Jefferson. Fourth was an off target in the end zone to Connor Hayward, and then boom, just like that, Justin Fields came back in. Now, in terms of rest days, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Isaac Seumalo, Minkah Fitzpatrick were not at practice. Were not dressed, I should say, for practice. They were kind of just taking it easy, doing what they had to do. But Russ did end up finding some more reps in 7-on-7s and actually found George Pickens for a touchdown. Did hold the ball a little long there, but again, ends up being a touchdown. We had another would-be sack by Alex Highsmith, beats Dan Moore off the edge. Troy Fatano was getting reps with the first team at right tackle, jumped on a false start, had to take a lap, and then Broderick James came right in for him on that possession. We had a big completion to Van Jefferson once again. Quez Watkins made an unbelievable toe-dragging touchdown ball from Fields again. So, listen, 7-on-7s were pretty good, man. Justin Fields was 4-4. Russell Wilson went 2-4 on the second portion. Again, Fields makes a couple of great throws. Russell Wilson makes a great throw. Man, I'm excited. Let me know in the comments down below, who do you think the starting quarterback day one is? Because we're starting to hear a lot in terms of, maybe Justin Fields is their guy. Maybe Justin Fields is the starter. I don't know right now, man. I think we still have a long way to go. But when you watch this team practice, Justin Fields is good, man. He's good. You got to admit. So hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you, and follow the Twitch. And I'll see you guys in the next practice update or on the Steelers game whenever they play. We'll be live for that. I'll see you guys then. Peace.